Keith Strachan joins me now. He's the president of MediPharm Labs. Keith, welcome back.
Thanks for having us again. Really excited to be back.
It is my pleasure. Keith, in the universe where most of the market has halved in price, MediPharm has done one hell of a job. MediPharm Labs, rather, has done one hell of a job of maintaining a robust performance in the marketplace. What is it that you guys are doing so differently that's attracting such a positive response from investors?
Yeah, I think we're really happy with the way things are going on the capital market side, and I think really what's happening is we're getting a lot of traction just going out there and talking about the fundamental of business. So I think cannabis and where it started versus cannabis where it's now, I think investors, especially on the institutional side and even on the retail side, they're looking for the business fundamentals. So if you look at our results that we published for Q2, $32 million, EBITDA positive without the adjustment, positive cash flow. I don't think that this is something that we see in cannabis companies across the industry. So that really gives us an opportunity to differentiate ourselves and has really helped us with that in that side of the business.
Sure, and is that kind of financial performance on that trajectory going out into the next few quarters? Are you giving any kind of guidance at this point?
We're not giving any guidance at this point.
Probably a good idea.
We will see incremental increases in our business as we have in the past. I think if you look at last quarter, we're up almost 40% from the quarter before. Obviously, as we roll out and depending on how Cannabis 2.0 rolls out on timing, that may smooth a little bit from that huge hockey stick. But by all means, we're still pumping a lot of oil in our facility in Barrie, and we will see an increase for sure.
Yeah, we haven't come and shot with our documentary crew there yet, have we?
No, not yet. We did like an interview from I think over Skype or something, but we'll have to get you and the team up and
we'll
check
have
it
to
out.
Get it there. All right, so what is the main driver of your revenue at this point?
Main driver of our revenue today is concentrate, like in a bulk format. So that intermediate product.
So like an isolate?
Yeah, an isolate, a distillate, or a resin. For the most part, it's a winterized resin, so it's gone through the extraction process, and then we've done solvent to remove the fats and waxes, and then done a solvent removal process. And that's what we majority sell today. In this quarter and next quarter, we're seeing that move a little bit more towards end products. So we don't do as much of like a tolling service. We buy wholesale. We've purchased from over 20 different license holders in Canada. We make it into our own intermediate product, a resin or distillate, and then we sell that wholesale. So someone like Canopy, when we sell them resin, we're actually giving them a chance to increase their inventory versus just transforming material they already have. And that's kind of what we sell today. But as we look towards the future, a lot of the interest and a lot of where our contracts are going are like private label, white label contracts where it's a company that doesn't want to touch the plant, doesn't want to have a license. So what we can do is provide a full turnkey solution where we've secured the supply chain for starting material, we make it into a concentrate product, label it, and send it directly into the provincial distribution.
That sounds attractive. Now, is that so like you're sort of like a B2B platform in that regard?
Yeah, definitely. So we do a B2B kind of wholesale platform now, and then it's interesting as we get to more of a white label. What we're rolling out is we actually have a provincial sales distribution license. So we're licensed to sell from our facility in Barrie into somewhere like the BCLG or the Ontario Cannabis store. So what we do is we do full turnkey solution where we're making things like KKE oil for 7 acres, start to end, and then putting that into the store. I think we announced earlier in the summer that we'd be doing the same thing with Ace Valley as they launched their vapable product. So taking a vape pen, start to end, and a company like Ace Valley, who's great at marketing and great at finding customers, they do their part and we do our part on the manufacturing side.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so you're adding EU GMP certification in this mix down the road?
Yeah, for sure. I think the whole premise of MediPharm Labs from the beginning was to be a pharma-like facility. Our facility was built and designed by the same people who do places like Pfizer and Purdue. And a lot of our staff now on the quality side, we have over 20 staff in our quality team with a combined experience of 150 years in pharmaceutical manufacturing, anywhere from Apotex to Teva to Eli Lilly. So really, to best leverage that skill set is to go after that EU GMP. So we're getting close to that phase now. We're also looking towards other jurisdictions and GMP certification, such as Australia. We have a facility there, but in order to help with the export of finished goods from Canada, we'll also have the Australian Health Authority come to Canada, review our facility and our processes, and give us that stamp and certification so we can do that export.
So you guys are really set up to export to every corner of the world, aren't you?
Yeah, I think if you look at the opportunity of cannabis, the real opportunity that we're really excited about is that global opportunity, and that is primarily all medical products. So that's really where we're pointing in that direction for growth.
Very cool. And so with the advent of the Cannabis 2.0 in Canada, do you see a lot of your product moving into the extracted as ingredients stuff for that realm, and do you see that as a big booster to revenue overall?
Of course, yeah. I think as probably the number one seller of intermediate product, let's call it like that bulk winterized resin or distillate. Anyone who's getting into the business now who is great at making drinks, packaging drinks and distributing drinks, we don't want a bottling line in Barrie, but we partner with companies like that to give them the active ingredient to make that. So whether it's a drink or an edible or any other Cannabis 2.0 product, we can really be that active ingredient provider, and that gives us a huge opportunity for ramp up in sales, call it 2020, as we see more and more of those products and some of those facilities become approved.
Sure. Do you think that the controversy surrounding vapes in the news lately is going to cause any sort of downdraft on your progress?
At MediPharm individually, I don't see that big downdraft. I think what's happened in the news and we're seeing is very tragic. And but I think it's important to note that where that's happening is places where there's no federal regulatory oversight. So I think it's really important that Canada instill that oversight so that we could make sure that this doesn't happen here in Canada or happen frequently. And then as the regulatory market moves in, MediPharm and other license holders, that we're providing customers with something that's safe and easy to consume, and I think that's what differentiates ourselves from that black market vape that you could buy today.
That's an interesting I've never heard anybody sort of play it like that because the U.S. doesn't have federal oversight, of course people are dying. That's an interesting concept, but I mean, is it really just black market vapes that's causing the problem?
Well, I think it's the lack of regulation. So if you look at in Canada, cannabis, all producers, all of us are governed by Health Canada, same governing body for food safety, nutraceuticals, and pharmaceuticals. So when we introduce a new product, they put us through the ringer.
Right.
And they don't so we go through a process where we're showing them how we make it, what we use to make it, what ingredients are going in, how did we qualify those ingredients. So for example, when we bring in something to mix distillate for a vape cartridge, we qualify that supplier, then we qualify the product that they're intending to sell us, and then every single shipment that comes in, we also release that into production through a qualification process.
Wow.
So if you look to the United States, well, some of those jurisdictions are regulated. They're not regulated by the FDA. And what that is, where the missed opportunity there is they're not going through the rigorous program of that supply chain quality management system.
Right.
So while they might be producing at scale and producing somewhat quality, it's just that missing link in the supply chain where there's that big risk.
Sure. Okay, what's going to drive most of MediPharm Labs' growth going forward into the next year?
I think basically what we're touched on, we're really excited about global opportunities. So our facility in Australia is near completion now, and we hope to be operational there very shortly as they come. And then as we compile our international certifications at our Canadian facility, it's really export and the export opportunities for medical. I think adult use in Canada is great, and we will always be in that market. But what we're most excited about and what's really going to drive that growth is that global medical market.
Sure. And finally, tell me about the quality of earnings as you evolve into maturity. I mean, one of the main things we're seeing is that, yes, there's revenue, but the margins are not translating into significant net income. Do you expect in your case, because you're already sort of advanced in that regard, that's not going to be a problem for you, and you've kind of got that in hand?
Yeah, I think we've got a really good control over that. And if you look at our last quarterly results, we're almost about 40% gross margin. And as we move towards end products, we could see that even better. So where we might see a bit of price compression on flower, then price compression on actually like crude resin or distillate in bulk, I think in end products, especially medical products, is where we see that margin sustainability. So I think that's something that we've planned for and we're ready for. We're, like I said, we're positive EBITDA today, so we can only improve from here. So whereas some might be starting from, more of those negative balance sheets, we're already positive on ours today.
Wow, that's great, Keith. Congratulations on your good work, and thanks for joining me again.
Awesome. See you soon.
You bet.